145.6. I want you to remember that number, because it doesn't hit that number often enough, because this thing has been a pain to get firing regularly over these last couple of days. I probably put like literally 10 hours into this build because things keep breaking on it. But I'm really, really happy it finally hits that number, because when it works, this is one of my favorite blasters I've ever gotten my hands on, and I can explain all that stuff, but first I have to explain what this is and why I have it. Well, this is Captain Slug's Esper, which has a cute little acronym I'll kind of put down here. There you go, that's what that Esper stands for. And this is the kit that was licensed from Captain Slug by Worker. So every single one of these that gets sold pays a royalty to Captain Slug. He, of course, also sells them himself and builds them himself, but Worker also sells them now, his exact design, with his blessing, and pays him for it. And this one was sent to me by Workerkit.com, who sells a lot of Worker's stuff. And they just sent this out to me to do a video on. They didn't pay me for my opinion or anything, and my gosh, do I have an opinion. Because not only has this thing taken a lot of my time and effort, but I already owned an Esper hardware kit that I bought back in like December. I even printed it out, and I never put it together. I don't quite know why. Probably because at the time it wasn't really hitting very high FPS marks, and I had all these other things I wanted to work on, and even though I really like stringer blasters, I never put this thing together. And yes, it is a stringer blaster. There are no springs in the Esper. Everything, the sear, the trigger return, the mag release, and the propulsion mech are all elastic, which is kind of nifty cool when you think about it. And I opted to get the pump action version of it, probably because I already had the non-pump action version of the kit right here. And at first I thought the pump action was dumb, and then I put it together and I figured out pump action is absolutely awesome, because this thing is so compact and cool. Even the little dragon motif on the front of it, I kind of didn't like that at first. It's definitely grown on me. I kind of like it now. It doesn't really match the rest of the blaster in my opinion, but oh, maybe it does. I think it's meant to help upset kind of wings and stuff right there. I don't quite know. I haven't really talked to Captain Slug about this kind of stuff, but I gotta say, when this thing works, I love it. 150 FPS in a little pump action carbine kind of thing. I know there is a cut down kind of Caliburn thing. I still think this is probably smaller, because this is like roughly 3/5 the size of a Caliburn with the pump action kit on it. And I like really compact blasters, and for it to be pump action and hit that mark, there aren't a whole lot of things that kind of do that for me. I love just how freaking cool it is. And of course, Worker's hardware kit, I gotta say, in a lot of ways is superior to Captain Slug's, probably because they can source a lot better parts, but of course they have those carbon fiber looking plastic spacer things over the threaded screw rods, and they have different bolts and stuff on it. There's a lot I like about it. I thought this was quite superior. That being said, I didn't realize this at first, but Captain Slug's new threaded rods that I got when I bought his kit are actually tapered at the end, which is really important because that makes threading nuts onto the end of these way easier, because putting these together, like trying to put little nuts on the end of it like that, is a nightmare. That's one of the things I hate about the Caliburn, but of course my Caliburn parts are all really old, they're the Worker ones, and well, this is far better, and I really hope Worker starts doing that, because it's really cool. Look at it, it's tapered. And that's about the only thing I like about the Worker one. Like, this is Captain Slug's this is crap. This is way better. And yes, it is elastic powered and pump action. So what it does is this entire back end right here contains the plunger tube, the pusher, and of course, this is the plunger rod. And when you prime it back, what happens is there's a catch that will hold the plunger rod back as this entire thing moves, and then of course the plunger tube is going to slide over the front of that, and it's going to push a dart from the magazine into the barrel, and the plunger rod sits back there, and when you pull the trigger, it's going to release the plunger rod, and it's going to snap forward through the plunger tube, create air pressure, and push the dart out the barrel. Pretty forcefully, I might add, and it is a lot of freaking fun. And the bands that you get with the Worker one, this actually hurt me the first time I tried to put this on, because this rubber band, like elastic band thing, doesn't seem like it would work. You can't really stretch it that much by hand. Yet when you put it on there, it works. And there are differences between putting this version together and Captain Slug's hardware kit together. Because here are the instructions that I got from Worker. And it's really cool how they gave you these instructions, because like, unlike the Worker caliber, it's in like really bad, like this looks like an official product, which is cool. But you can start to tell by the fact that it says things like culmination, feed grip, cartridge. Yeah, there's some weird terminology there that, you know, you don't normally use. And then you open it up and you figure out what the problem is immediately, besides the fact that it has a freaking hole through it because I shot a dart through it on accident. But it's a black and white page of a black and red blaster being put together. So try to look at that right there and try to tell me if you can tell what orientation that part is in, because I tell you, it's really hard to see it sometimes. Very difficult. And not only that, there are like 13 different types of screws that go into the building of this blaster, and most of them look the same. It's really frustrating because if you use the wrong screws in the wrong places, you'll do things like put a hole through your plunger tube accidentally. Seriously, I wish I could like take the screw and like put it right here and see which one. It doesn't work that way though, and it's really frustrating. And then you think, okay, well, I'm gonna go look at Captain Slug's instructions on his website. And you can, but the problem turns out that he puts his blaster together differently. Like his magazine release. The magwell is supposed to work with both the Katana mags and its derivatives and the Talon mags. And the problem is, you have to, like, on his instructions, you have to, like, thread this rubber through, like, thread a elastic band through all the stuff and tie it in two places and do weird stuff with it. It's really frustrating. Worker gives you a pre-hand-tied band and says, loop it around here, put it up here, it's good to go. And you know what? Worker's works perfectly fine. And I tried to untie it and put it together like Captain Slug, and it didn't work at all, and it was frustrating. There are things that are weird about this though. Like for instance, on Slug's original version, there is a bolt that will go right here that the elastic band is supposed to sit on to give it some structure, so it's not just plastic being held on. And Workers doesn't do that. They just like, yep, put it around here, it's good to go. No need to put a bolt through there, just wrap it on. Has not broken. I was expecting it to break, but I fired like 200 darts through this thing and nothing has broken so far except for everything else. My major issue with this kit, the first one at least, is the fact that this like barrel holder piece right here that the barrel is inside, you're supposed to put the barrel through there, and then there's a nut that goes on that end and a big screw, and you screw that together, it's supposed to hold the barrel in place. This one does not work. I could tighten as much as I want. For whatever reason, the print dimensions, it will not. The barrel just slides right the frick out. How am I supposed to fix that? Well, I could print out another one, which I kind of did, but this one is a slightly different shade of red, and it's also got support in there because I wasn't supposed to print it with supports, and it was gonna be frustrating, so I didn't deal with it. So I just glued the barrel in. And occasionally that barrel will pop out, which was frustrating because when the barrel would pop out a little bit, ever so slightly, I would wind up with a drop of like 20 FPS, which is super frustrating. But now it seems to be working fine. But then I started having issues with the air seal in the plunger. And so I filled every hole in here with glue and everything. I don't know why it has all these holes and stuff in it, but now this thing is air freaking tight and I get some pretty good FPS readings out of it, which I'm super happy about because when this blaster works, it works hard. I've got one more dart in there. You better hit really good. 144, you know what? That's good enough for me. If you were doing like a Blaster Tag Association or something like that, their FPS limit is 150, at least for King of the Hill. This is perfect for that. And it's really tiny, compact, pump action. The draw is pretty substantial, but it's not that bad. It's also a very short prime. It's a handy little blaster, and I love it. Also, this thing right here is dumb, and I don't know why people want it. As you can tell, and you're eager to point out, I don't have very big hands at all. When I put it on there, I can grip it, but the ball of my hand is resting against this thing right there, and that's without a stock on it. You want to put a stock on it? Like, this is just the dumbest stock I could think of putting on this thing right now, but you can put it on either way, except for the worker stocks really only want to go on like the one way, and I'm not going to put all the way on, because right now it's already difficult, but you can tell this big, huge part, yeah, that doesn't feel very good. It is rather comfortable to shoulder. Yeah, it's not bad at all on that front, but I don't see the point of making this thing even bigger than it already is, because I think the entire point of the Esper blaster is how short and compact it is. I really like it. I really like this blaster. It is one of my favorite blasters of all time when it works. But the amount of work it took to get this thing together, and the amount of things that broke, and all of the work I did on this was really, really, really frustrating. And I'm glad I finally got to this point, and I hope it stays here for quite some time, because it is a lot of fun, and I can highly recommend whether you want to get the Captain Slug version or you want to get the worker version from Workerkit, which you can find a link to down in the description below. I recommend this thing if you're looking for a blaster, like kind of like this. It's not a very expensive blaster at all either. There's a lot to love here. When everything works, it works, and the overall build, it wasn't that bad. But it's just the things not working that made it excruciatingly frustrating, that and all the different types of screws and everything like that. But put it together, have fun with it. And of course, it is entirely 3D printed. And of course, you can customize it if you have your own 3D printer and build stuff off of it. Of course, it only works with short dart mags right now, both the Jet Blaster katanas and then Workers Talon mags, and any of their derivatives. It should work perfectly fine. But I like it. I like it a lot. I am really happy with this thing. And I have a feeling it's going to be a mainstay. I'm not a huge fan of the red and black, obviously, but I'll take what I can get. Maybe that will encourage me to print out more of my own. This was before I upgraded my printer and fixed a lot of the issues I was having. So who knows what tells, but like, oh man, if you only need like 150 FPS, and who knows what this thing can do in the future, there's a lot to love here with the Esper. I am a huge, huge fan of this now. Let me know if you have any experience with the Esper down in that comment section below. And more importantly, what else would you like to see for this kind of blaster? I know somebody literally already made a Springer version. I don't know how harder hits or anything. That's like literally a new development somebody did, but whatever, man. Make more short, compact pump action blasters, please, because they make me happy. It's just kind of my thing. I'm Walcom S7. Thank you very much for watching this video, and of course, I hope to see you in an entirely different one. And holy crap, I finally got this video done! Booyah!
You gotta up,